for under about $23,500 out the door. For a small off-road SUV for family use? Today, let's take a look at the Lexus LX 760HE, whether it's worth considering and what advantages and disadvantages this car has. The vehicle length is over 5,100 millimeters, and the wheelbase is only 2,850 millimeters. In terms of power, it uses a 3.5-liter V6 twin-turbo engine, combined with a 40-kilowatt electric motor integrated between the engine and transmission, forming a parallel non-plug-in hybrid system with a total output of 360 kilowatts and a combined torque of 796 newton meters, moving this roughly 2.84-ton body from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in about 6.5 seconds. For a similar price, you could also buy a 3.0T Range Rover or a 3.0T Maybach S480, and choosing those is more about the added value of the brand, while this one emphasizes the product's own strong performance, where power is actually secondary. The key is that this vehicle uses a body-on-frame structure, meaning it has a ladder frame, and it comes standard with a detachable central differential, an active hydraulic suspension, and low-range four-wheel drive. Especially the off-road focused version shown in the video, it adds front and rear differential locks compared to other trims, just like the Land Cruiser, giving it 3 locks in total: front, center, and rear. The hydraulic suspension adjusts height very quickly with a wide range of adjustment, and when raised to the highest level, it offers nearly 300 millimeters of ground clearance and about 700 millimeters of water fording capability, enough for most terrains. If that's not enough, switching to low-range 4WD can multiply torque by 2.5 times, and if that's still not enough, locking the center, rear, and front differentials step by step lets you confidently tackle mud and rough terrain and climb to the top, a process that can fully satisfy a sense of conquest. Of course, if you don't want that complexity, in most situations you can leave everything to the MTS multi-terrain system, which automatically adjusts the vehicle in real time based on road conditions. However, outside of off-road scenarios, its drawbacks are also quite obvious, and they mostly revolve around being small. So let's break that down. For detailed vehicle specs of the Lexus LX 760HE, you can refer to the Dongchetti database. Although the overall length exceeds 5.1 meters, the wheelbase is only 2,850 millimeters, the same as the Prado and GX, and combined with the longitudinal engine layout and body-on-frame design, the rear space is quite tight. At my height of 179 centimeters, sitting in the second row, although there is still some headroom and legroom, the overall comfort is clearly not comparable to vehicles like the Range Rover or GLS with over 3-meter wheelbases. It's usable, but not spacious. And on top of that, it's configured as a 7-seater. When you open the tailgate, the battery is placed underneath, and then 2 seats are added above it, which also results in a very high cargo floor, almost up to chest level, making loading items inconvenient. The third-row seat cushion is basically just a pad placed on top of the battery, offering almost no thigh support, and when I sit in the third row, my knees and head are tightly cramped, so the third row is really only suitable for children. Besides the small space, the fuel tank is also relatively small at 68 liters. Although it's a hybrid, this system is not primarily focused on fuel efficiency, and with slightly aggressive driving, fuel consumption can easily go into the mid-teens liters per 100 kilometers, giving you a range that feels like only 300 to 400 kilometers. Moving to the front row, there isn't much of a modern tech feel either. The 12.3-inch infotainment screen has average interface design and response speed, and honestly feels less user-friendly than a Camry. Below it is another smaller screen, mainly used for off-road related information, and together with the 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, it forms a triple-screen setup, combined with many physical buttons. The center console is also large and wide. Finally, to sum it up, at around $140,000 out the door, if you need to make a statement, impress others, or want a spacious and premium second row, then this car may not fully meet your expectations in terms of brand image and space, and even its front and rear design is relatively understated when approaching. However, if you care more about the product's actual performance, then this car is low-key but extremely capable and perfect if you don't care what others think and simply want to enjoy it for yourself.